California, the Riviera of American homelessness, is a death trap for the homeless. Can California break the cycle? Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. There's a lot of talk in 2025 about AI taking people's jobs, and it's true. But at the same time, people who learn AI can make more money than they ever could before, often without even having a college degree. That's because these days, nearly every white-collar job today demands AI skills. And people who have AI skills have a much better chance of getting a job or starting a successful business than everyone else. And that's why I've partnered with Outskill, the world's first AI-focused education platform. This weekend, they're holding a 2-day AI mastermind workshop with 16 hours of training taught by expert mentors. During the 2-day live training, you'll learn 10 plus powerful AI tools, prompt engineering to get the best outputs from AI, and how to automate your workflows and build AI products without code. And when you attend, you'll get exclusive bonuses worth $5,100, including a prompt Bible with 3,000 high-impact prompts, a roadmap to make an extra $10,000 a month, and a personalized AI toolkit builder. Over 10 million people have attended this training across different industries, and now it's your turn. This training normally costs $895, but I've partnered with Outskill to give away 1,000 free seats exclusively for my viewers. So clear your weekend. The training is this Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. on both days. You will learn so much you can do with AI you wish you'd attended last time I told you about it. So scan the QR code or click the link below. So the US has seen a lot of changes since Trump came back into office. But you know what hasn't changed? Homelessness in California. If it weren't so bad, it'd be comforting seeing at least some semblance of normalcy. Homelessness continues to plague California, the state with the highest homeless population in the US, and everybody's fed up with the homeless situation.
Fire rages out this RV door. It was home to this woman who calls herself Lucifer. Residents say fires are a regular occurrence at this City of Industry parking lot. The property manager, neighbors, and business owners say it's become a crime-ridden homeless encampment over the past 2 years. Nissan employees use part of the lot for inventory overflow. They're fed up with the homeless stealing brand new car tires, even gas in the tank.
It's gotten so bad that kids in the area are going to start singing "The Wheels on the Bus Go for about $30 on the street." This is why more than 100 cities have imposed homeless camping bans. This comes after the Supreme Court ruled last year that cities may enforce laws against homeless encampments. But where are the homeless supposed to go? The sky? I guess homeless shelters are one option, but the living conditions there can be horrendous. The dirty streets are somehow less dirty. One not-so-pretty example was an Oakland homeless shelter at the Lake Merritt Lodge that sheltered around 100 homeless people. It closed last November as the shelter program relocated to a brand new apartment building. My condolences to the new apartment, because what remained at the Lake Merritt Lodge was certainly a sight for sore eyes. It had a constantly overflowing toilet, destroyed smoke alarms and beds, water damage, other property damage, and much, much more. I've seen less devastation at bomb testing sites. One unit reportedly had thousands of roaches. I assume it was roaches, since those are the only things that could survive here. Case in point, another had a dead body. Yes, a dead body. Apparently, death is a lot more common in California homeless shelters than you'd think. In fact, according to CalMatters, California homeless shelters are even more dangerous than jails. Which means if you're homeless in California, the safest thing you can do is punch a cop. Don't do that, by the way. Data from the California Interagency Council on Homelessness shows that annual shelter death rates tripled between 2018 and mid-2024. That's nearly twice as many deaths reported in California jails during the same period. One person eloquently put it, "They died like flies." Now, I'm no linguist, but I'm pretty sure the word shelter doesn't mean a place where people constantly wind up dead. And people aren't dying in shelters just because of medical conditions or drug overdoses. You hear of shankings in jails and prisons, but homeless shelters? Man, that's a whole nother beast. You gotta watch your back, and front and sides. And if the homeless in shelters aren't getting stabbed, they're getting shot at. Unfortunately, if they're lucky enough to avoid all that, there's still a good chance they'll face some type of abuse. As one nonprofit executive put it, there's 2 or 3 dumpster fires a day. I'm not sure if that's figurative or literal, though given what we've seen so far, my money is on both. That's largely because life as a homeless person in a shelter in California can be a violent one. Police logs obtained by CalMatters shows more than 1,300 calls for violent attacks in just a dozen LA shelters since 2019. Let me repeat, more than 1,300 police calls in just 12 shelters alone. The police must definitely know people by name. You know that thought experiment of, would you rather be alone in the woods with a man or a bear? I'd rather be in a phone booth with a bear than in an LA homeless shelter. The homeless not only have to watch out for other homeless people, they also have to watch out for the homeless shelter staff as well. You know, the very people who are supposed to take care of them in the first place? Take the Share Center in Salinas, California. It was advertised as a beautiful and spacious location whose vision was a world where all people are healthy, safe, and engaged in community wellness with access to quality housing.
So I have to tell you, this has been for a lot of people a labor of love and dedication so that we can create safety and security for all of our community.
As was mentioned before, this is a housing first approach project that will most definitely be a model for other communities to replicate.
If this all feels like the beginning of a horror movie trailer before the twist comes in, you're right, because it's most definitely not a role model for other communities to replicate. Internal emails show that program staff at that center committed food benefit fraud, engaged in nepotism, stole food and other donations intended for the homeless, and used resources meant to house the homeless to house their own relatives and buds. I'd say there's a special place in hell for people who steal from the homeless, but even Satan is probably like, I don't want them, send them to purgatory or something. There were also reports of retaliation against people who report on staff. That's on top of many other allegations, like manipulating data, lying on resumes, and engaging in sexually inappropriate activities. What was their screening process for staff? You have a pulse, you're hired. But you know what's even worse than hiring someone who's not qualified? Hiring criminals. A Bridge Home, a shelter run by the LA-based nonprofit Hot Pits, hired a man convicted of attempted murder and robbery in the 90s to work as security. And according to LA court documents and victim testimony, he committed sexual battery on 3 women living in the shelter in a single day. Apparently nobody called the police when that happened, until the victims reported the assaults to law enforcement themselves. One said in court that she was kicked out of the shelter after she reported what happened. It seems like that violent criminal was the only person the shelter was actually trying to shelter. And reports of violence against homeless women have become so widespread, especially in LA, that advocates told LA Mayor Karen Bass that shelters in Skid Row are not an ethical option. Now you'd think that California officials would hold people accountable to make shelters safer. I mean, there are laws put in place for that. But guess what? California cities and counties are ignoring it. Your first mistake was using the words California officials and accountable in the same sentence. Most don't file shelter reports about incidents like sexual harassment allegations, food shortages, and deaths, likely because doing so wouldn't exactly make them look good and could affect future state funding. As CalMatters puts it, what happens in those shelters is largely a black box. As a matter of fact, CalMatters had to sue to force the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority to turn over homeless shelter complaints, which must have been difficult since those fingers may have also been stealing food and clothes from the homeless. This is the same agency that the LA County voted to defund after seeing how utterly broken and completely ineffective it was. Do you know how terrible you have to be for Los Angeles to realize they're wasting money on you? And after LA County pumped billions of dollars into fighting homelessness, the number of homeless increased by 37% between 2017 and 2024. Even California Governor Gavin Newsom is tired of California's state of homelessness, which is why earlier this year he announced stronger accountability measures and launched a new tool measuring local progress in tackling homelessness. I'd say that's promising, except once again it's a sentence involving a California official and the word accountability. The announcement came with $920 million in additional homelessness funding. It calls for mechanisms to pull back funds from local governments that fail to demonstrate progress. You mean someone's going to actually have to do their job? They may need to add more to the screening process than having a pulse. There's a push for more homeless shelter oversight and accountability. The question is, will California be able to do what it says it wants to do, or will they just keep spinning their wheels until they're stolen by a homeless person? What do you think? Can California pull itself out of its homelessness quagmire? How can California solve its homelessness problem? Let me know with your expertly crafted analysis in the comments below. And don't get left behind when everyone else is learning how to use AI. Be one of the first 1,000 people to click below and book your slot for OutSkills AI training this weekend. I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching.